Hey everybody, Quadstar Tuning tonight. We are going to do the stock 6.5 turbo diesel wicked wheel install. We have our turbo on the bench here, but for all intents and purposes, this is going to be the same procedure as on the truck. We're going to make a separate video for doing the whole turbocharger rebuild and wicked wheel install with the cartridge removed from the turbine housing. But this video is to show you how to do it on the truck if you're just installing the wicked wheel, but you don't want to rebuild the whole turbo. A lot of times you don't have to rebuild the turbo, so you can just install the wheel without taking it apart. And now, since this wheel is component balanced, that means that the wheel in itself is fully balanced. We can see the QC mark on the back and the balancing mark, where they took weight out of this to balance it as an individual piece. So we do not have to balance the whole turbocharger to install this wheel. So we'll get started. We need 10 millimeter, and we're going to remove all the retaining bolts and tabs for the compressor cover here. We have most of them removed here just to make the video go a little bit quicker, but you're going to be removing all these 10 millimeter bolts that are on the back of this cover. It's a bolt and tab. You can set those aside. So once you have all those off, there's a little bit of silicone on this sometimes, so it sticks. That is a factory OEM thing that they put silicone on the compressor cover and on the boot that goes to the intake manifold, the intake plenum, sorry. The reason they did that is for the CDR PCV system pumping oil mist through here. They were trying to reduce it getting on the cover, but you can still see they shouldn't really have done that. It didn't do much because this turbo is very healthy and it still has oil seepage all over it. So go ahead and mark your housing with a marker. We marked it on the back side here, the orientation of the cover, because the cover spins if you don't get it back in the same spot. So we can just look at our marks later and line it up right there perfectly in place so it goes to the intake plenum correctly. But now we can take it off. You can see the mark we made on the back side that matches the mark on the cartridge, so you know where to put it. We can set that cover off to the side. Grab our 7/16 6-point, very important. We want to get a good grip on this nut. Now, you're used to going left to loosen. This is a right hand thread or a left hand thread, so you actually need to spin the nut this way to get it to loosen. So we're going to go right to loosen it. I'm going to hold the wheel while turning the wrench. I just had to grab another tool here. So actually, since we're having trouble holding onto this wheel with our rags, so we're not really worried about this wheel. We're going to throw it in the garbage so we can actually take some channel locks, get a grip on it, and crank our nut loose. Again, we're not worried if we're going to damage that or not. We're not going to reuse it. You definitely don't want to grab the new wheel that way, but we're just trying to get the old wheel off. So now that we've removed the nut, we can go ahead and pull this wheel off. It should come on very easily. We've never done any of these that were tight because they do get a little bit of oil behind them, which is good because the shaft will stay oiled. See, the factory wheel was balanced on the front side here. It just depends. The new one's balanced on the back. But now we are ready to put a new light coated oiling on this shaft. And we're ready to install the wicked wheel now. So take our new wheel. It doesn't matter which way it goes because, like I said, it's component balance. We don't want to put a lot of inward pressure on this shaft, so we want to make sure the wheel does not go on tightly. If it does go on very tight, then we'll heat it up just a touch. It's going on a little tight, so what we're going to do is give it a little heat. You can use a heat gun for this or a torch. Just don't go too crazy. We're going to turn our torch way down. Just heat it up a touch. We'll grab our rag in the meantime. Don't put too much heat in one spot. We just want to get that extra touch of clearance so it'll slide on. That's exactly what we wanted. Now we'll give it a little bit more. We just want to heat the center. We're not really trying to heat the blades, they're the fragile part. And once we get it on far enough that we can thread the nut on, that's what we're looking for. Perfect. So that's just kept us, we don't want to put a lot of pressure on the shaft because of the oil seals on the shaft. You actually tap those shafts with a mallet to get them out, so we don't want to put a lot of pressure on it. That tiny bit of heat gets us exactly what we want, keeps it from hanging up. We can see which side of the nut was the clean side and which side was dirty. So we know the clean side goes towards the wheel. Again, we're going to have to turn this opposite to get it to tighten, so turn it to the left to get it to tighten. We're going to put a touch of Loctite on that nut just for security's sake. If we ever have to take this apart again, since we use red Loctite, we'll have to use heat just to free it up. Let's put a dab of red on there. If you don't have Loctite, you know, they don't really suggest it in the instructions. We just use it as an extra measure. So you'll be fine. Or you can get it at a local auto parts store. And now we're just going to cinch this nut down. And now we are going to be pulling this on slightly, so it's going to be pretty loose at first until it bottoms out the wheel, which is perfectly fine. Just make sure we have free range of motion here. Nothing's binding up. And we'll get a good grip on the wheel with our soft glove and do the final tightening here. No exact torque spec on this, we just want to make sure we cinch it down. And that Loctite will work for us. Careful, you don't really want to bend the blades. I mean, these things are pretty tough, but just get your nut tight and we'll be good to go. Sorry, it's hard to see what I'm doing here. Trying to get a good grip on the wheel. All right, now we can double check that we didn't bend any blades. We're just applying even pressure to make sure that we don't hurt anything, but now we are good to go. The Wicked Wheel is installed. It is an extended tip design, so it sticks out farther into the housing than the factory wheel. If we turn this sideways, we can show you what we're talking about. We got a more aggressive blade pitch and an extended tip, so these blades are longer with different angles. You can see the spacing on the factory turbo wheel here. The blades don't come all the way out. They come all the way out on the Wicked Wheel. That's what we mean by the extended tip. So they protrude out into the housing farther and have a better pattern that will grab the air. It changes the whole look of the turbo when it's installed. These are a great upgrade for the stock turbo. It's pretty much the best thing you can do to a stock turbo, because what we get out of it is we have high exhaust drive pressure on these turbos. Since they're small, there's not a lot of area for the exhaust pressure to move through. So when we install the Wicked Wheel, we more efficiently compress air on the compressor side, and we in turn lets our wastegate open sooner. So it doesn't necessarily let us run a whole lot more boost, it just makes it more efficient throughout the entire range. So say we were running 12 pounds of boost with the factory compressor wheel, we run 12 pounds of boost still with the Wicked Wheel. Again, it's just an example, it's not the maximum that everyone's going to run, but we lowered our drive pressure now that we have the Wicked Wheel installed, because we don't need as much energy to spin the compressor wheel to move the amount of air that we need. So we made everything more efficient. We cooled down the exhaust temperature, which in turn cools down the intake temperature, and everything just works very well together. It's a nice budget upgrade that everyone can enjoy. It's a great price point on these guys with free shipping always. So if we can help you out, let us know. Hope this video helps you. Thanks for watching.